Hey everyone, Corey from Aquarium Co-op, and today I'm going to teach you how to gravel vac an aquarium and clean the sponge filter. It's one of the few questions I get over and over and over again, and so I know when I demonstrate it in the store, people can learn quite a bit, and so I thought let's do a video and it's going to be quick, short, and sweet, but let's get into it. So first you're going to need a gravel vacuum. This is I think this is a Lee's kit, but the Python ones work all the same. Aquarium, they're all pretty similar. And then you're going to need a bucket, or as I'm using today, I'm using a trash can on wheels. So I do a lot of tanks, and so being able to wheel it around works nice. And so let me get the camera set up, and we'll start showing you some tips. Alright, so the first tip I have for you is probably getting it so that all your decor, which I don't have much decor in this tank, that's going to be another video we're going to shoot after this on getting this tank ready, but moving as many things as you can out of the way so that you don't have to stop your siphon. So I've moved the sponge filter all the way to the side there. Usually I would scrub the sides for algae if I had any in this tank, which I don't. I do that first, and then all the algae that's in the water is going to leave when we start gravel vacuuming. So first what I want to teach you is how to start a siphon. This is a relatively simple thing once you know how to do it. The goal here is going to be to put this tube in the water. It fills up with water, and then when the blue part or green part or whichever kit you have goes above the rim, the water will start flowing downward, and we're going to put the tube back into the water at an angle just like this so that we don't trap air. If I come back in like this, it's going to get an air bubble and stop. So we're going to demonstrate that a couple of times. We've got the water full all the way in here. We're going to lift it up. Water starting to flow, we put it back down in at the same angle, and we have a siphon going, okay? We're going to do that one more time. So, the tube is completely empty of water. All we've got is air. We're starting it brand new. We put it in at an angle, goes in, fills up with water. Nothing will happen if it just stays like this. Once I lift it up is when the siphon will start going, and we put it right back down in, and we've got our siphon going, okay? The next thing I want to teach you guys is when you are gravel vacuuming, do it in a systematic row. So I can't really do that at this point just because I need to be close to the camera. But let me reposition it a little bit, and I'm going to move actually that sponge filter to the other side so I can get a better position for you. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to go back and forth through your aquarium in rows, like you're mowing the yard. You don't want to kind of just hunt and peck. That's going to miss a ton of stuff. You also have to move your decor because that's where all the debris settles. And so I've got the hose crimped right now, and you should learn how to use this technique so water can flow. And now I crimp it, water can't flow. And what you'll see, I'm gonna do a spot over here so you guys can watch. I'm picking up this coarse sand right now, and once the debris lifts away from it, I can crimp the hose and move on. So that's the technique we're going to use, and we're going to go to the corner here, and like right now I've got the hose crimped and there was a baby guppy in there, but we've got a snail in there. We're going to separate the waste, and we're crimping the hose, and that's what drops the waste back down, if you can see that, and then we move on. And you don't want to let any of this waste into the aquarium. Kind of think of this as like a chimney. You want all the smoke to go up out of the house, not inside. So what happens is, with gravel and sand and stuff like that, if you don't crimp the hose and you're waiting for it to come out, it takes a long time. We're going to take out all this water. So the goal would be, we do all the gravel and the sponge and take out about 1/3 of the water in this aquarium. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and we'll get on to the sponge filter. Alright, and lastly, when you're finally done, you want to take the hose out. Put your hand over the end of it and release this. It'll suction cup your hand so that way nothing falls back into the tank when you take it out. It'll hold it, and you can release it into your bucket or your tote or whatever you're using. So now we need a fish bag, and we're going to clean the sponge filter here. So now I've got a fish bag. You know, just reuse one you get from your fish store, that type of thing. And the goal is to do this. The goal is to get the bag in there, get it all the way around that sponge filter, and then pull it up to the top, disconnect the hose so all the gunk stays inside. If I just go in there and grab it, it's going to release a whole bunch of gunk. So that's what we're trying to do. And yeah, so we'll show you step by step. We get in there, get some water in the bag, and then go from the bottom and just try to barely move it as you're walking it in. Alright, so now I can remove the top of the sponge filter because it's in the bag. Just like that. I can lift this up and out. And so you can see in the aquarium very little disturbance at all, and we just removed the filter. So now I want to get the bottom piece out. That's this right here. I give it a quick rinse, kind of in the bucket where we took gunk out. And now we're going to wring this sponge in here and make really brown water and keep pouring it out until it comes clean. So that's what we do right now. Let me get on the ladder, that'll be easier to show if I'm on the ladder. But you just start wringing it out. And we're getting some of the algae off and things like that all at the same time. And we want to use the tank water, and it's because when we use the tank water, it doesn't have chlorine in it, we're not killing any of the bacteria, we're not going to put it to shock from a different pH, a different temperature, that type of thing. So, you know, you get it as clean as you can the first pass, and we've made lots of chocolate milk. Like, that's brown water for sure. Pour that into your bucket. You can save this water and use it on your house plants and stuff like that. It's full of nitrogen. You know, you don't want to let this sponge sit out for too long. After a couple of minutes, a lot of the bacteria will have died. So we want to keep it wet. So we're going to grab some more water. And I don't recommend taking it to the sink. One, it wastes water. And two, you could kill your bacterial colony doing that. You know, it's not a high risk, but it is a risk. And I'd much rather put the fresh water back into my aquarium here while I'm taking out old water. So you can see this one, not nearly as dark. It's coming, you know, much cleaner with that pass. And usually, unless you've neglected it for a long time, you can get it in about 3 passes. And then it's never going to be 100% clean, which that's absolutely fine. We don't need to be 100% clean. We just need to be operational. Alright. And now when I squeeze it out, you can see here very little of anything's coming out. I'd say we're done. Let that go into the tote or the bucket. Give it one last squeeze. And yeah, there's going to be a little cast off as we put it back in the water. You grab the bottom here. But it will clear itself back up. It's a nice, healthy sponge filter, ready to do, you know, another at least a month of work. And this is what I recommend to my customers and stuff like that. Unless you have a reason to do a different schedule, I start out with once a month and about 1/3 of the water, gravel vacuuming, and servicing your filtration. Now, if this was all planted, which I'm going to do a video on, I'm about to plant this whole tank up, that's why I'm doing this, you wouldn't gravel vac, you wouldn't go down into the gravel where the plant roots are, you would hover over the top just to pick up any loose debris. And so yeah, it's, you know, real quick there. It took me, you know, if I was not to time lapse this video, I think it took me about 12 minutes. And so 40-gallon aquarium, 12 minutes, everyone can do that, I think. That's a very light load to keep a very healthy aquarium. I used a little bit more than 30% here. I was doing a little bit of demoing. Plus, I don't run the water level all the way up on this aquarium because I want to breed these mystery snails. So that's a whole different video though. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Hope that helps. I know when you're getting into it, that can be one of the hardest things to understand, a good gravel vac and a good service of the sponge or filtration you're using, but it really helps, and it's one of the best things you can do to keep your aquarium healthy. So if you enjoyed the video, like it. If you found it useful or you're a part of a group where someone doesn't know what they're doing yet, link this video to them and help them out. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you in the next video.